What's going on, people? My name's Casey, and I want to welcome you to the Fashion Forward podcast. If you see this logo, or if you've seen it before, I'm wearing this very intentionally. This guest said, why are you wearing this shirt for our episode? Looks like you've planned it. I absolutely have planned it. And me, what's going on?
What's going on, bro?
You know there's actually going to be no way I'm going to have you on this podcast and not wear something of yours.
You know what it is, yeah?
Go on.
When I was getting ready, I thought maybe don't wear the t-shirt because Casey might wear the t-shirt. And
100%.
It will look a bit too cliche, but I thought, you know what? It is where...
No, do you know what? Like, I'm actually fans of all my people that do something. So this is me, like, being one of your number one fans right now.
No, you're always supportive, though.
I should have actually won the hat.
You're always supportive. You're always supportive. You've got a fresh trim, so you don't need to.
Thank you, bro.
You know, my airline's not the best.
Nah,
so
get out of it.
I need the caps.
But do you know what though? I feel like some of us, we need to have the haircuts because some people just naturally have the flyness.
Oh, yeah.
Emmy, talk us through your fit.
Very simple fit, I would say. I've got the beige ME top. I've got a blue. I don't know what you call this blue.
These are carpenters.
Whatever blue you call it. Blue carpenter jeans flared from Off-White. And then I've got just regular Timbs on the feet. Yeah.
No. You've got this down pat. I love the fit. Because I know you do styling, you do designer. If someone meets you,
yeah,
how would you describe yourself and what you do?
I never introduced myself as a stylist because I'm actually not a stylist.
You're just good at dressing people.
I pay attention to detail, and I guess that helps me to dress people. And I think I've got this, I will call it gift or maybe ability, where I can paint a picture in my head without seeing the physical. So if I put an outfit, if I have an idea of different outfits, I can visualize what it would look like without seeing it physically. Yeah. So that helps me to put things together. And I'm quite simple with it. So
yeah, I think for as long as I've known you for about 7, going into 8 years. Yeah. And you've actually always been one of the best dressed people I know. Not because you necessarily do the most with how you dress, but you've always known how to put things together. Yeah. And I think I've observed how you've dressed throughout like every time. Yeah. So there was a time when you were heavy on your tailored suits. Yeah. You got that down packed. Yeah. And then you started to metamorphosize into how we're seeing you now. Yeah. Has your change of style reflected a change of mentality?
No.
No?
No. Because I still wear suits sometimes. Yeah. It's just depending on the occasion. Do you get what I mean? So when you met me, I was working in an office. So there was need to wear suits more often. I don't do that anymore. Back then I was in recruitment. I'm not in that industry anymore. So I don't actually go into an office at the moment. So I don't, there's no need to dress in that style. Yeah. But when the occasion rises and I need to wear a suit or formal wear, I can still pull it off. So I think the mentality is still the same. Okay.
Because I think what I'm trying to gauge here is, of course, you're working for a recruitment company. Yeah. You've always, I'm assuming now, you've always had an interest in fashion. Did you always? No? No. So it's something that kind of evolved?
I would say that, yeah. I've not always had an interest in fashion, if I'm honest with you. But now that I look back at growing up, I think the interest was there. I just didn't realize it. And I'll tell you why I say that. For as long as I can remember, my mom's a tailor. So she used to make the traditional African wears, the agbadas and the stuff that you wear to functions.
For those of us that aren't necessarily cultured in that way, what is a agbada?
So I don't know, how do I describe it? You know when you go to an African function or a Nigerian function and you see the extra stuff and they do this with the men.
They always...
With the stuff. Yeah, so that's the agbada.
Okay.
So things like that, my mom used to make that stuff. Was I interested? Honestly, I wasn't. But I saw her doing her stuff, around the house. She would cut the patterns, do the sewing, and at some point I would even help her to iron when she's running behind on schedule with many orders. So I guess from that might have left some footprint on me. And then at some point in school, I used to do something where, did your mom ever buy you trousers that are too long so that when you grow,
you'll grow into your uniform?
Exactly. So I used to have trousers that were too long, and what I would do is I would take the bottom in myself, but for some weird reason, I would get a blue thread instead of the normal black.
What?
So that my school jumper
matched
went with my trousers.
Wow.
So I'll put the blue thread on the bottom, and I would get kickers with the blue laces. I'll get those. Sometimes I'll get in trouble for it because so things like that. And then sometimes when I want to let the trouser out a bit because maybe I've grown a bit, I'll take the blue thread out and I might decide to put red this time. So I used to do those things, but I didn't think that was interesting fashion. I thought I was just having fun and just being, I don't know, creative, I guess.
Do you know what? Listening to you, I would actually call that an earlier expression of fashion.
Yeah.
Because, shall I tell you how I knew I was interested in it without knowing? I used to play football. Before my growth spurt. If you see me playing now, I'm horrible. But when I used to play for some proper teams, and I always used to make sure that my kit matched my choice of boots.
Yeah.
I always wore Mercurial Vapors. I just think they looked the best. I was on the wing. It looked nice.
Yeah.
But how I knew is that I used to hate playing in mud because I didn't want the look of the kit to get dirty.
You don't like playing in mud, but you like playing football.
Yeah, I was a summertime baller. That was
go to goals, man.
Just go to goals. Stick to AstroTurf. My kit won't look messy then. But honestly, that was one of the earliest signs that I paid a bit more attention to detail on how my clothes looked than the average.
Yeah.
Because for most people, it's, I'm just going to do the slide tackle. And...
Well, you wouldn't go in for the slide tackle because you didn't want to mess up.
Stay on feet.
So you cost the team the game. You're not going to win the challenge.
I was a certified tackler anyway. Anyone that knew me back then, I was a good footballer before I got injured, obviously.
Look, don't do that because a lot of people say that.
Everyone got injured at some point.
Everyone got injured. It's like, so what? Would everybody have been a footballer if you didn't get injured?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. But when did you come up with the idea? Actually, before I even get into that, you've named the brand after yourself.
Yeah.
Why have you done that?
Why did I name the brand after myself? Very good question. I have no answer to that. Actually, I do. Truth is, I couldn't think of any other name. That's the honest truth. I couldn't think of any other name. I didn't want to name I don't know if you remember, there was a time I had a conversation with you actually, and I was like, what name do you think would work? And I just couldn't think of anything. And I didn't want to name the brand after myself because I actually like being behind the scenes. You might not know it, but I don't like being forefront. I like being behind the scenes, working and just getting things done.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be the face of the brand either. But when I played around with the name, my initials
it works.
It works. So I was like, you know what? M-E. Okay. Me. Actually, it's got a ring to it. It could work. So I spoke to my mentor and told me to go for it. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not crazy after all. Let's do it.
And then what was your journey into design like?
What was my journey into design?
Yeah, so you've now been told to go for it.
Yeah.
What were the first products that you started creating?
I started with suits.
Did you?
Yeah, I actually started with suits. Like you mentioned earlier, I used to wear a lot of tailored suits. So I was very, very, very intentional about how my suits looked. They needed to drape on me a certain way. The trousers needed to sit on the shoe perfectly. And I think a lot of people used to notice the attention to detail that I paid to my suits. So I used to get a lot of questions like, okay, where's your suit from? Where did you get this from? How can I get a suit like yours? So that kind of made me look into getting some tailored suits. So I'd take people's measurements and get their suits made perfectly to their measurement. And that's how I started in 2019.
Wow, 2019. And now we're now a few years on. Yeah. And we're now wearing some of your latest stuff.
Yeah.
Why this logo?
Love. Love. I think it's, in a world where there's a lot of hate, I think it's important when you get the chance to pass a message of love.
What is love to you?
Very good question. Love for people. And that's very, very, very vague. Love for people, love for changing lives, love for helping people. It's limitless. You can't cage it.
Yeah.
It's bigger than the ME brand even. When I say it's bigger than the ME brand, love is bigger than the ME brand because it's an important message, and that's what I try to do with my designs. I try to pass a message across.
So through the clothing, what's the next step of expressing your love for community? You've created the brand.
Yeah.
It's based in love. Love is a major.
No, that's just the message for this collection.
For this collection.
Yeah.
How do you go about creating different messages for each collection?
The word. I was brought up, for those who don't know, I was brought up since I was the age of 10 by Pastor Toby.
Okay.
PT. The messages that he's preached is just what helped me develop over the years. So I've got an amp full of messages to communicate. I'm a pastor, and this is my way of preaching. My designs, my way of preaching.
I think
sending a message to people.
A lot of the designers who have made the biggest impact, they have a message and they have a design language. One of those people being someone that I think a lot of people in our generation would look up to in fashion, being Virgil Abloh.
Very, very inspiring person. He's actually one of the few designers that I would say I'm inspired by.
What was most inspiring about him for you?
What was most inspiring? I could relate. I guess. I could relate. It was... His designs were relatable. Shall I say his ideology?
Yeah, you can say ideology.
I saw an interview where it was like he's designing for the 17-year-old Virgil Abloh.
That's probably one of his most poignant quotes for me.
That clicked with me. So, yeah, I think... And he wasn't a gatekeeper.
Yeah. I'm hearing that word a lot recently within the fashion industry.
Yeah. I think it's everywhere, though. It's not just with fashion.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
100%.
If someone's being a gatekeeper, I don't necessarily blame them. Maybe they don't know better.
Why would people gatekeep?
Why would people gatekeep? Many reasons. It could be because someone's selfish, which is probably the biggest assumption that everybody would make, that this person is selfish. But someone could also gatekeep because they don't actually have the know-how in terms of how to bring you in.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I might not know how to bring someone in. Doesn't mean I'm gatekeeping intentionally. How do I make sure that I'm not spoon feeding someone, or because I don't want to be a gatekeeper? So there's can't really judge until you know someone's full aspect.
This is true. So we've launched this first collection.
Yeah.
You've launched this first collection.
The first collection is not done, by the way.
There's more to come?
This is just a taster.
This is just a taster.
The caps and t-shirts are just a taster, just to see how people react.
How's the reaction been so far? I think it's been quite strong.
It's been great.
Based on what I've seen.
It's actually been amazing.
Better than you anticipated?
Definitely. I designed this in 2022. I designed this in October 2022, I designed this. And I didn't release it until, I think, December 2024.
Wow.
Yeah. And the reaction from my community, the reaction from the family, and the reaction from pretty much everyone that's seen it, it's like, wow, okay. I thought it was just normal, but people actually like this stuff. So yeah, this is just a taster. I've got a full collection coming.
You like full collection coming?
Collection, yeah.
I think
starting
with
tracksuits.
Starting with tracksuits.
Why? I've got beanies coming as well.
Why starting with tracksuits?
Tracksuits is something everybody can wear.
Yeah.
No matter what.
This is true.
You work in the corporate world, you love streetwear. Tracksuits. Everyone wears tracksuits. Some people, like when I used to wear suits, when I used to work in the office, like I said, like we used to have casual Fridays. We decided to wear a tracksuit to the office. And on that Friday it would be fine. So everyone wears tracksuits. So I'm designing something for the ladies and for the gentlemen. And I've got beanies coming as well. The beanies will be released at the end of February.
Okay.
The tracksuits, I won't tell you a date yet, but soon.
There's something that certain brands, luxury brands, go by, and it's called wardrobing. And the essence of wardrobing is essentially to fill up somebody's wardrobe. So it's almost like all you would wear
is their brand.
So like a Louis Vuitton does it so well. So they release.
We're getting there. I mean,
X amount of t-shirts.
We're gonna get to that stage.
That's the point that you want to get to.
We're gonna get to that stage, certainly.
But what would you specialize in?
What would I specialize in? I haven't figured that out yet. I think it's too early to say. So I won't say that just yet.
Okay.
I think it's too early to say, so I'll leave that question for now. Maybe if we do another podcast in the next maybe five years, I'll be able to answer that question.
Okay. I think the only reason why I'm asking is because it's almost we're still discovering the identity of the brand.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So maybe I'm being cheeky.
It's early stages.
As a, you could almost say that podcasting is a form of journalism. So you could almost say that I'm being cheeky.
Yeah, you want to get
my journalistic activity.
You want to get the
sneak peeks and stuff.
Yeah, you want to get the sneak peeks.
If you retrace your journey as a designer when you were starting out, what were some of the challenges you found?
Oh, you know what? I actually spoke to someone about that today. I tried to run before I could walk.
What does that mean?
So, like I said to you, I pay a lot of attention to detail. And fortunately for me, I'm exposed to a lot of luxury. So I've gone in straight and I just want to create like the best tracksuit, like the most expensive tracksuit. I'm talking, you've got the heavy logo and the detailed zip pullers and this and that. And that cost a ton when you're talking samples to meeting up with minimum MOQs and stuff like that. But then you have to remember, yes, you might have amazing designs, you might be extremely creative, but people don't know you yet. So all that creativity, all that amazing quality is only going to be seen by people that know you.
Yeah.
And at the time, I only had and even still now, I only have 1,000 followers on Instagram. There's how many of those followers are willing to spend the amount I'm trying to charge for those tracksuits? And not because I'm trying to charge extortionate prices, but I'm trying, even to break even, the tracksuits were expensive because of how much detailing I put into it.
Yeah.
The lining was crazy. Everything in the tracksuit, it was immaculate.
So, I remember.
Exactly. So I had to go back to the drawing board and realize that I have to build a community, I have to build a following. Almost like I have to have fans people who like and are loyal to the brand.
Yeah.
When I get to that stage, then I'll bring those tracksuits back. And I said to you, someone asked me about that this morning, but that was because they wanted one of those tracksuits, and I said I'm not making them for now.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted one of those tracksuits from back in the days, and I was like, no, not for now. I haven't gotten there yet.
I think we usually, with the sort of people that I have on the podcast, are people that are much more experienced in whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we've caught you at such an interesting time where we're able to ask you questions about your journey.
By the way, you're the only one I would do an interview with.
So this is an exclusive
at this point.
This is the reason why I had to wear this.
I think it's too early. So if anyone else approached me, I'd have said no.
Thank you so much. And I think it's very important that we get you on at this time, because I genuinely feel like you're going to go on to do massive things. And we kind of get to learn with and grow with you.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing with your community building, I guess. You're putting things out there, almost like entry-level goods. So a lot of designers, whenever they're designing a collection, they'll have their statement pieces, which usually cost like a lot for that brand.
Yeah.
So for example, say if I release a collection, Casey, my jackets might cost, my statement jackets.
Are you planning to release them?
No. Just an example.
Just
okay, I'll use Louis Vuitton as an example.
No, don't worry. Bro, come on, man.
But they've got jackets, for example, for like 10K.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the flip side, they've got t-shirts for $215, which
they don't.
They have for around that price. They've got the classic logo, the circle there.
Those are $215.
I believe so, around that.
I think they're more. I've got a few of them. But
I'll trust you. But just for argument's sake,
let's say $250.
Let's say $250. Yeah. Okay, for around that price, right? So would you say that you're at that stage where it's like you're putting those price points there so people can have enough peace and grow with you as the value of the brand increases?
Yeah, definitely. I want people to grow with me, but at the same time, I want people to grow with me knowing that every time they purchase something, they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah.
I have no intention of cutting corners or reducing quality just because I now have a large following and I can get away with it. A lot of brands do that. I have no intention on doing that. If I put a price tag of £1,000 on something, I need the person that's wearing it to feel like $1 million. I need £1,000 is not cheap to spend on a pair of jeans or t-shirt.
No.
At any point, regardless of if you're a millionaire or not. It's on the higher end. And I'm saying I'm going to get to that point where I can charge that price. But by the time I get to that, I need whoever's wearing those pieces to feel like they've got what they paid for.
You've said something which just struck a thought. In another episode with one of my friends, who you also know is a stylist, his name is Marcus.
Yeah.
We were speaking about brands and things that the brands do to grow their community. So I used an example of a brand called Cortez.
Yeah.
Who's heavy on the community building aspect of things.
I'm a big fan of it.
Big fan also. And then someone else that we know, Dagier, who runs Genius Bar Atelier.
Yeah.
As well as Adjoa.
Yeah.
And with Adjoa, he's attached a philosophy. With Emmy, it sounds like you actually have both the community building aspect and the philosophy behind the brand.
Yeah.
But which one do you place more importance on?
That's a very tough question.
Or do you feel like it will change per time?
The reason why I say it's a tough question is because it kind of links for me.
Okay.
Meaning the philosophy is about the community. I don't know if you get what I mean.
I understand.
The philosophy is about and is for the community, is to serve. That's just it.
Okay. I understand. And that's a very good answer. Usually when people on the asking side come out with a question, it's almost like, okay, I'm going to get something that I can answer, that I can get from that answer. But you've answered that so well, and I get it. It's almost like one feeds into the other, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's just the best way to say it's to serve the community.
Okay. And
in the best way that I can.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. If you could have, outside of our obvious answer being PT, if you could have a brand ambassador outside of yourself in PT, who would the brand ambassador be?
Don't do that to me, man. Damn.
I remember for like a Laura Piana, for example, they would say like James Bond, the character James Bond. Or Vape, at a time they would have said like a Lil Wayne, Chris Brown. For Louis Vuitton, of course, it's the artists, the artisans, those skateboarders, because those are the ambassadors now. Who would yours be?
It's quite hard to... I think of many people I'd like to collaborate with, but...
Actually being an ambassador is a different thing, right?
Yeah, because, I don't know. You know what?
Go on.
I will narrow it down to one because he's a friend of the family. What do you think I'm going to say? You're smiling like you know what I'm going to say.
I was smiling because of what you just did. Who is it?
What do you think?
I would think you would say Davido.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say him. I would say Davido.
Good answer.
One, because he's a friend of the family already. Two, look, not because he's like the perfect musician or the perfect celebrity, but I kind of like his setup and his way of doing certain things. Meaning, like, he's got this, there's this slogan that kind of stuck with him, like you rise by lifting others and stuff like that. Things like that. I think I like those stuff. So yeah.
I like that. And
yeah, I think that
slogan 100% makes sense.
Yeah, things like that would make me say David, yeah.
And then there's also the fact that like he's a symbol of hope to aspiring musicians in the continent of Africa and worldwide too.
Definitely.
So he's a very good brand ambassador to have, or he would be.
I think it's possible to make it happen actually.
Yeah, why not?
But let's see how it goes.
Why not? Let's see how it goes. Top 3 brands.
What do you mean?
What are your favorite 3 brands?
If you asked me this 2 years ago, I would say Off-White.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I can have them up there anymore. LV definitely. LV definitely. Top 3 you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
LV definitely. There's another brand I've been rocking quite a lot lately. And I think they're very good in terms of like that. I don't know if I can call it entry level for fashion, but or affordable. I don't know, but I think they've got some good pieces, and I like a lot of their stuff. I think it's called West Behavior.
West Behavior, I know West Behavior.
Yeah, I like the brand.
I know a very, very influential young woman who works there.
Apparently, I like the brand because I'm always on my West Behavior. People say that, but it's not true.
And I've also heard that your theme tune is actually Drake, Worst Behavior as well.
I don't even know the song.
So everything about you is just Worst Behavior.
I don't even know the song, so that's not true. But I like Worst Behavior. So if I was to put in order, I would say, you said top 3 brands, right?
Top 3.
I'd say ME, LV, Worst Behavior.
Okay. That's a good lineup.
I have to say ME first.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
It's like, you're really a designer if you don't put your brand first.
Of course.
Do you have any questions you want to ask me?
What's the idea behind this podcast? What do you aim to achieve with it?
I'm just continuing a conversation that was started. So, of course, I did a collaboration event in October.
Okay.
With the Fashion Blueprint in Somerset House.
Mm-hmm.
I actually then wanted to do another event in December, but it wouldn't have worked where timetable was concerned and whatever else.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking, okay, if I can't do this event, what am I going to do to continue to engage people with the platform? What can I do to increase the voice of what we're trying to do, but also give other people a platform to express their journeys without it being an event. And then that's when the idea of the podcast came about.
Okay.
I actually started a podcast a few years ago. And for reasons beyond my control, it just wasn't released. And I had an amazing set of guests on there, including Martine Rose.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really wanted that to come out. But I think now is the time.
Yeah.
And I think it aligns with everything else and everyone else that's going on around me as well.
Okay.
So that's why the podcast. It's just a continuation of a conversation.
Okay. Makes sense.
And I'm really excited about it as well, actually.
No,
fashion forward in general.
Like I said to you, if it wasn't you, I wouldn't have done it.
I appreciate
Definitely. But next question. If you had to pick 3 people, dead or alive, in the fashion industry to sit down with, would your 3 be?
I'll pick them and I'll tell you why.
Please.
Chanel. Gabriella Chanel.
Okay.
The reason why is because she came from like a very low socioeconomic background.
Mm-hmm.
She started a business and then she started to learn different mannerisms and ways of living.
Mm-hmm.
So she started off in one way of life, ended up in a complete another way of life. And she was always fighting norms. So for example, when she first started designing, or one of their ethos was, it wasn't a norm for a woman to wear suits like that.
Oh, okay.
Like masculine looking suits.
Yeah.
She's the one that kicked that off.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And then of course there was, you now have a setback because of the World War.
Yeah.
You can either from that point choose to either just stop designing in general or come back and try to change the times again. And that's what she did. So she's just a fighter. And when I read her story, I was like, okay, this woman's just a fighter. So I like her.
Okay.
And that's why her brand is still being spoken about now.
Yeah.
A Virgil Abloh, of course. I think, as I said, for anyone that's around our age or even younger, he's like the modern day great. Not necessarily because of his designs per se, but I think because he was a risk taker. And he also affected society through fashion.
Yeah.
So I remember there was the hype beast world and then there was the luxury world. In the hype beast world, you had like Supreme, you had Off-White,
yeah,
and all these other brands, Palace, Obey, Stussy, Billionaire Boys Club. You had, of course, Yeezy doing his thing with the trainers at the same time as well.
Yeah.
And then Virgil then found a way to blend the two worlds and fuse low, mid, and high class into one dress code.
And I think LV is still benefiting from that.
They 100% are still benefiting from it. And I think society has benefited from it. One last designer. The last one's always the toughest one. Out of my love for you, of course, you're one of my favorite designers. But I would say Nigo.
Yeah, okay.
The reason why I would say Nigo is because he isn't afraid of expressing his childishness through his designs. Like color, pattern, design ethos, creativity in general. He's just similar to, as you quoted from Virgil back in the day, he's just like a young version of himself always.
Yeah.
And I think from him taking over at Kenzo, it's shown that he also likes a challenge as well.
Yeah.
Can you revive a brand that has been out of the spotlight for a long time?
And I think he did. I think he did that quite well.
I think he's doing very well. And of course, like, he also puts people on. He introduced Pharrell into the fashion world. He's introduced plenty of people into the world. So yeah, those are my 3.
Okay.
And only because of a lack of time. I would have loved this conversation to go on.
Don't worry.
But I can actually hang it on the wall and say I was the first person to interview the legend, Emmy.
I'm not a legend yet.
No. I'm going to be saying this. I'm going to be saying this in the next 10 years.
In the making.
I was the first one.
Definitely.
It's on the wall. I've got the shirt.
Sorry, I'll sign the shirt for you.
100%. Emmy, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, bro. Definitely. Till next time.
And for you guys at home, please like, subscribe, share, and let's push fashion forward together.